Hi, I'm Randy Robison. This is Life Today TV, an extension of the daily Life Today broadcast program. I'm here with comedian Chonda Pierce, and she has all sorts of great stuff out. Her new DVD is called Girl Talk, something that she's going to have to tell us about because I know nothing about that. How you doing?
It's good. You know, you probably should have watched this video even before you got married, but that's a long time ago.
It's a little late for that.
Too
Why?
late for
What
that.
would I get out of it that would help me?
I don't know. You know, the thing that turned out, you know, all these videos I do, I always have this thing I want to leave with an audience, something I really want to say. And I always think they're not going to listen to me, you know, if I just come out and say, here's what I want to say, and then say goodnight. So I get that little nugget of truth, and then I start writing all the comedy backwards, and so that's kind of how it went. This time, it kind of took a rabbit trail of its own, and I thought I was doing a video that was just funny and frivolous about what we girls talk about and all that, and it turned out to be a lot about what we don't talk about that we probably need to.
Like what?
Oh, well, we don't resolve issues well. You know, we are we are, especially women, and I can say this because I am one. We are notorious about not ever wanting to hurt somebody's feelings. Mm-hmm. And then that makes us overworked, over multitasked, because we don't know how to say no well. Yeah. We don't know how to speak the truth. You know, there's not a woman out there that says, does this dress make me look fat? You already know the answer. It's like, stop asking that question, you know. And so there's all these things that we talk about that we might as well just drop from our vocabulary. And then I learned that there's a lot of things that we need to say, and we need to make sure our I love yous are current. And you know, we need to, if there's an issue we need to resolve or an I'm sorry that needs to be said, we need to be quick about saying it. Life is short, and even when you think you're going to have time to straighten it out later, you know, I have a handful of girlfriends that I went to high school with, and we've stayed in touch, but we lost one of our little group, and it really woke us all up about, boy, this time is precious, and of course we're the age now we're visiting one another at each other's parents' funerals, you know, and it just seemed in the writing of this and in the making of this, it had this precious element to it of that if you've got a really endearing relationship, a girlfriend relationship, cherish it, you know, and make sure it's good and wholesome and get the stuff out of the way.
And that's true for guys too.
It is, and then y'all are notorious about not talking. You know, I'm married to the same man for 30 because I do it for you. That's what my husband says. I just whisper it to Chonda, and she tells the whole world. And part of that is true, but part of that he's had to learn how to speak up. I've had to learn how to not talk.
Ooh.
And that's hard. It's very convicting.
So what else is going on? I know last time I talked to you, you had a lot of stuff in the works and just kind of. So what can you talk about now?
Well, I did a few movies, and that was fun. You know, I did that.
Name them? Tell me.
I did The Dog Who Saves Halloween. That's always a thrill. I played a parole officer, and one of the prisoners was Dean Cain, who used to be Superman.
Yep.
And I got to tell him off, and that was kind of fun. It's always you'd love to tell off the guy that's like the hot shot guy, you know. Right. So I did that one. I played in one Love Always Waits, or Love Waits, or True Love Waits, or something like that. I played a Southern waitress in a Japanese restaurant.
Okay.
Only had 2 lines, and I kept messing them up because I couldn't say anything in Japanese. I would just call the cook Pikachu. I asked Fred Willard if he wanted to order some Pokemon. You know, I was just really bad at that. And then the other one that is on television now, and you know what's so funny? When you get a contract or get asked to do something, I did this Christmas movie called 12 Wishes of Christmas. Now, this is the second Christmas it came on, and they play it like 50 times, you know, during the Christmas season. If I knew it was going to be on TV that much, I'd try to lose some weight.
But you always think of that too late, don't you?
Yeah, I play a Christmas angel. If I was a Christmas angel, I would have zapped myself skinny.
Oh, you look like a cherub then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, thanks a lot. A little chubby old cherub.
That's cool. Are you touring now? Are you doing a lot on the road?
I'm in the middle of touring. You know, I'm always touring. I'm always working. But I've taken a little time off last year. You know, my mother passed away, and I was home with her. And then my husband and I have had quite the struggle. in the last year or so, and so I've been taking some time off, and we have our regular counseling appointments, and that's another thing. He's learning how to talk, and I'm learning how to shut up, and that takes a mediator. But it's good, and we went through some tough times with one of our kids, and for me, I am that person that says, well, I'm going to find somebody to talk about it, and I get it all out, and I get a counselor, and my pastor, I bend his ear every Sunday and all that. And what I realized, my husband wasn't doing that, and he was internalizing everything, and it was breaking him apart, and he began drinking, and he was sober 25 years, and then fell off the wagon, and so the last couple of years it's been a huge struggle, but he's sober, he's doing good, but it was a process. And I had not, when we first got married, we were not believers. And so our life, when we came to know Jesus and truly got serious about our walk with the Lord, it was a great process, and we were in it together. This was the first time that I was still trying to walk out my faith, and my husband was so discouraged, he had none. And so it was a challenge. Part of me wanted
how do you respond, right?
Exactly. Part of me, I wanted to bang him on the head with the frying pan. Part of me thought, what's wrong with me that I can't help him? Part of me that wants to fix it, well, let's get a plan.
Right.
And sometimes, you go to your counselor, you take your antidepressants, whatever the regimen is. And he's a great proponent for AA. Sometimes it requires a meeting where you sit in a group and you talk.
Yeah.
And for men, that's hard. And I'm very proud of him. He is embracing that and doing really well.
So you're walking through the whole thing with him.
We are walking it out.
Good for you.
And Randy, I at first we didn't talk about it much. We didn't say much. But my life was I still had to work, and I would try to keep some things secret. And then in the last couple of years, both of us have had opportunity to tell our story and to testify to being in the, it's one thing to go, look what I went through and the Lord was faithful.
Right.
It's another to go, we're right here in it.
Yes, it is.
And we are finding the faithfulness of God is enough, but we're still right here in it.
Yeah.
And it's a process. These addictions are not easily conquered, and he has it's humbled both of us, but it's made us close,
How do you do that and do comedy at the same time? How do the smiles be genuine?
And sometimes they're not genuine. Sometimes it really is fake it till you make it. Somebody bought a ticket to come hear you laugh and to laugh with you. And so you do what works, and this is what I do for a living. So I tell the jokes that I knew that worked before I got in this mess, so you still tell them. But for me, in my house, by the end of the night, I have to take that comedy mask off and say, okay, here's what's really going on in my life. Now let's talk about this. And let me tell you where God is in this process and where I am in the process. And 99.9% of the time, that is so embraced. And I think people find authenticity refreshing rather than standoffish or frightening.
Yeah.
I've only probably in my career gotten one email that just said, I came to buy a comedy ticket and I spent as much crying and so I want my money back. I think that was just once. I think that could have been my mother.
Was it your mom? Okay.
Somebody that was my material. But I think that one time in my career did I get that, note.
So while you're going through this struggle, and you're doing the comedy, you're making other people laugh, and that's the show that I get all that.
Yeah.
Is there any joy in your life?
No, there's not. But the joy of the Lord is my strength. So the Lord's joy is enough. And then I've learned to do the smart things. I surround myself with positive people. In the offset times of struggling with David or talking to him, or if he's relapsed or a difficult thing has come along, I'm really quick to find my pastor or my counselor, those people that I lean on, and not let things harbor. The toughest part in the process, especially, and I've learned with Al-Anon, it's been really great for me, and Celebrate Recovery, it's really a fantastic program. And what I have found is you get with people who are like-minded, that have been through this process or going through this process. And so if you let a struggle harbor for too long, resentment sets in, or or just such discouragement that you're ready to give up. And so I've learned these triggers. You know, an alcoholic has triggers, places that they can't go or people that can't be around, the old crowd. And what David and I discovered, and a lot of it became gradual. Some of it was out golfing with some buddies from church, and they decided to have a beer before they left, and he participated. Or it was a couple of guys after work, hey, you want to stop and have a drink? And he never would. But this time around, since he's empty nested and we're going through crisis with one of our kids and he's struggling and wife's gone, well, sure, why not? And he thought he could handle it. And I heard that over and over. I thought I could handle it. I thought it was well past the sobriety that I could handle it. And what an alcoholic will tell you really quickly, they're sober, they're one drink away, from disaster. And he realized that even after being sober for so long, he was one drink away from disaster, and it hit him hard.
What about you?
For me,
are you one
drink
alcoholic
away.
husband away from depression again? Really.
Now here's what's so great. When all of this came about, and as you well know, I've had a story of clinical depression, and I'm a great proponent for taking care of yourself. There's a great saying in my depression groups: HALT, don't let yourself be hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And those are all 4 spiritual things as well. Don't let yourself get so hungry with the word that you feel so out of touch from God. Don't let yourself be so angry that it becomes resentment. Don't let yourself be so lonely that you isolate and you don't share your life with anyone. And don't let yourself get tired. Don't be overworked. Those things that I have used for depression is the same thing that I have to use in this crisis. Right. And that's what you have to invite in. And so what I've learned is joy is not going to come naturally right now at my house, because sometimes there's tough times and difficulty. So invite that in. So how can I invite that in? I watch something funny, and when I'm flipping through the channels, and I'm a big fan of Fox News, but at some point in the day, you got to turn it off. Turn on disco music. Now, I'm a big disco music fan. You cannot have on loud, Earth, Wind, and Fire and be sitting there real morbidly. But there's things like that. Or turn on, Hillsong, Darlene Check, and you can't hear Shout to the Lord and all this and not be affected. And so you find the things that will push away the dark and invite in the joy. And of course, I'm a big comedy fan. I watch Andy Griffith all day long and will laugh at the same episode over and over and over again. Now that could be I'm just getting old.
I didn't even know it was still on, but that's okay.
That's exactly right. TV land, woohoo. But it's true. You have to just really shield or protect yourself. And there's a couple of girlfriends you can hang out with, and all of a sudden you'll hear, well, my husband did this, and it becomes a gripe session. Right. You just got to avoid it with the plague. You know?
That whole scripture that says, don't be filled with wine, or not drunk with wine, but be filled with the Spirit.
Exactly.
There's a couple of different ways to approach that. One is, hey, this is a verse on not drinking.
Yeah.
And it may be that may be what you need to hear.
Or it could be whiners.
Yeah.
Don't be around whiners.
Don't be a whiner. I really think the important thing there is that we get hungry for other stuff when we're not full.
That's
if
exactly
we're always
right.
full with the Spirit and figuring out what that looks like, how does that live every day? Then you don't have to invite the other stuff in because you're full. The easiest way to not overeat is to be full.
Right.
So the easiest way to not eat junk food or eat junk spiritual food is to be filled with His Spirit.
And what He has for you, and the things He has.
'Cause it's good.
And He says, think on these things. He'll list out, here's the things to think on.
That's right.
And let me help you out with this. Think on this. Right. Don't do this. Don't think on this.
Right.
What I love also is what you were saying is I spent some time, I used to just hide away playing video games. I'm a big video game. I mean, I was Mario. I love that. Then I got stuck on Candy Crush, and my iPad was full of Candy Crush and Pet Rescue, and the one where the colors and the squares, you put it all together. Tetris. I was a huge Tetris fan when Tetris, And so, not long ago, I gave those up because I realized when my husband doesn't want to feel his pain or the uncomfortableness or the depression or the discouragement where he is, that's what he does. He'll mask that by drinking. And I realized, I'm kind of doing the same thing.
Right.
I just want to numb out Now all things, in moderation. We talk about moderation, and I don't think there's anything spiritually wrong with Candy Crush, but whatever it is that you're using. That you're using to numb out instead of, I could be reading a pretty good book that would be helpful to me. I could pick up James's latest book, or I could do another Beth Moore study or something and feel that time. And it would fuel me and feed me a little bit better.
Right. Yeah, good stuff. I got to let you go.
I could do this all day long. I love this. This looks fabulous. It's been a while since I was here.
Pass that along to the set designers. So
I'm sure. I thought for sure you did all this.
Heck no. That's why it looks so good. True. Don't miss Chonda when she's on Live Today. That's at livetoday.org. What's your website? People want to come.
Chonda, CHONDA.org.
Shonda, not Chonda, because I never know.
Chonda, CHONDA.org.
Check it out.